Hey,
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine. What about you?
Doing all right. My name is Miles. Your name is Jafar?
Yeah, my name is Jafar. Is
Okay.
that your real name? Miles?
It's my
Oh,
name.
that's cool. Nice. So are you drinking tea or
Yeah,
what
iced
kind of
tea.
drink is that?
Iced tea. It's
Oh, that's
finally,
nice.
I'm in South America, so it's finally warm enough here for iced tea again. I've been living off of hot tea for a very long time now.
Yeah, I like tea. Do you know about Moroccan tea?
Yeah, it's
It's very
quite
famous.
famous. Yeah, it's quite
Yeah,
famous. I do indeed.
and it's very tasty.
Mhm.
Foreigners loves it.
I imagine.
You're
Yeah,
in
it's
Buenos
something that it's famous
Aires.
for.
Yeah,
Something that
you're in
Morocco is famous for, certainly.
yeah. If you
Mhm.
the first thing that foreigners try here in Morocco is Moroccan tea. So
So they try
when do
what?
you go to a hotel or somewhere, so they just make tea for them.
Mhm. I'm looking forward to getting to Morocco one day. It's on my list of places that I really want to go. Many of my friends have been there, but I
Okay.
haven't had a chance yet. One day.
Yeah, one day, yeah. Why not? So what's on the top of your list? Where? Which
Ooh,
place?
it's all about where next. So I live in Buenos Aires now in Argentina, and the idea was
Mhm.
to move here, and then I could travel all around South America and explore South America for maybe 5 years or so, and then move on to the
Mhm.
next spot. And one of the next spots I was considering was Portugal because I love Portugal. It's amazing.
Mm.
And it would give me access to going to Morocco and Senegal so easily and then traveling all around Europe too. But now that
Mhm.
I've been in Buenos Aires and the weather has been so cold for the last several years, and
You just
I'm
loved
used to
it.
hot weather. I like much hotter weather.
Yeah.
So now I'm dreaming of maybe moving to Mexico first for a while, moving to the Yucatan Peninsula instead, so that I can
Yeah.
wear shorts and go swimming every day instead.
So like the summer.
I like
Summer
warm weather.
days.
I really like warm
Yeah.
weather. So
Yeah, yeah.
New Orleans in the U.S. where I'm from is a very hot town. It stays between 30 and 40 degrees, and it stays
Wow,
nearly
40.
100% humidity all the time. So
Wow.
it's nice and sticky like a swamp, and I like it like that.
Yeah, and for how long you've been in you are living there in Buenos Aires in Argentina.
um, I moved here about maybe 2.5 years ago. So I've been here for a
Mm.
little while, and I've had some chance to explore, but obviously this year I really haven't gone anywhere. But before this year,
Yeah.
I went to Colombia, I went to
Mhm.
Medellin, I went to Uruguay. I started traveling all around Argentina. So I've gotten to see several of the provinces. And since I've been in lockdown here, since I've been in quarantine, I've been making lists of all the new places that I'm going to go. And
Mhm.
I already bought plane tickets to go to Bariloche, which is in the Andes Mountains. So very, very high up in the mountains to go hiking, and there's 7 lakes there that I can go boating in.
Wow, that's
So
cool.
I'm looking forward to that. And then in the north of Argentina, there's a desert called Salta. So
Mhm.
I get to be back in the desert again for a while where it's nice.
Mhm.
And I'm going to go around the time of Carnival. Do you know what Carnival?
Carnival, yeah. I think it's happening in Brazil or it's
Yeah.
happening in all the Latino countries.
It happens in anywhere there are Catholics, usually anywhere there
Ah,
are temples.
Catholics.
And I'm not Catholic, but I like the celebration. But
Yeah.
it's very traditional to New Orleans. In New Orleans, we call it Mardi Gras. Mardi
Mhm.
Gras is the French way to say it. And New
Ma
Orleans
ma
was a
how?
French city.
Marligua?
Mardi
Mardi
Gras.
Gras. Mardi Gras, oui. Ah, ok.
In French,
D'accord.
it translates to Fat Tuesday.
Oh, gras, oui.
Gras,
Mardi
si.
Gras.
Exactly right. So it's tradition in New Orleans. We have a lot of traditions based around that. We share a lot of those traditions with places like Brazil, which is very
Mhm.
famous, especially Rio de Janeiro for their massive parades and their
Did they
dancing and
also
music.
celebrate that? Day of the Dead that happened recently?
That is more of an indigenous New World thing. Do you know the term indigenous?
Indigenous. I've heard Jordan Peterson said it once. I don't know
Okay,
the meaning of it.
no
Do you know
problem.
the
So
guy?
indigenous, it means of the people who are from there. So something or of the place itself.
The real people for of that
So
place, like the
yeah,
real
so in this
people who
case,
were.
yeah. So in this case, El Dia de
Mhm.
los Muertos is the Day of the Dead. It originated with the tribes and the societies that were here in the New
Mhm.
World before Columbus showed up, and
Okay,
before the
yeah,
Europeans and people who look like me showed up. So
yeah, I understand. So you are
so in
not
some cultures,
indigenous,
I am
and the
not
others.
indigenous.
Okay, that's.
My wife is half native South American, so she is much more indigenous than me. But
Yeah, I see.
today I listened to a really cool song that a friend of mine played for me, and it sort of talked about how like none of us are really necessarily indigenous. That
Indigenous.
moved, we all continued to move from somewhere. Like all of our ancestors
Yeah,
continued to move. They
sometime
equated it
when I
to
yeah when someone asks me where I'm from, I told them Africa, and they look at me and they say, "Oh, you look weird. You don't look like you are from Africa because of my white skin." And
But
you
yeah,
know,
but Africa is so diverse. I
yeah,
mean,
it's
it's
so diverse.
incredibly
The
diverse.
north is not like the south, and
Hmm.
if you go deep the south, you'll find a lot of diversity as well.
Yeah, the the black people of New Orleans are largely from Eastern
Mm-hmm.
Africa instead, but they're not. They don't look like the Ethiopians, and they don't look like the Somalians. They
That's
look more like
different.
yeah, more
Mm-hmm.
like Kenyan, like perhaps you could say that they have a lot of tradition that's based on their roots in Kenya. So I get to
Yeah.
be a little familiar with that from the
Yeah,
outside.
so I don't know. People in Africa, they share the same color, but when you look at their faces, there is a
Hmm.
big difference.
Yeah,
Like if you
the
see
facial
some
structure.
yeah, if you see, if you look at someone from Senegal and someone from like Uganda, you can see the difference. It's not the
Hmm.
same.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. It's a little bit like
Yeah.
if you look at people from like Northern Europe, you can see little differences between what someone who has English ancestry and someone who
Hmm.
has German ancestry or something like that. You have to look, but you can begin to see it.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you about how is Argentina's doing with the current situation because I don't I know that Argentina is going through difficult times economically
Yeah, yeah. So
and
we're
and with
being
yeah
punished by the IMF, by the International Monetary Fund. So yeah, we're
mhm,
struggling a little bit, but the current government has done a couple of really good jobs. They did a good job of protecting us all and
mhm,
getting the hospital system, the medical system, up to the point where it can handle the pandemic. So they put
mhm.
us almost immediately into a very intense and strict quarantine, and they spent 3 months bolstering. You know the term bolstering? So building,
Bolstering. Hmm.
bolstering, to bolster. This would mean
Bolster.
to reinforce, to strengthen, to make bigger and better. So they built up.
Bolster. I use this word in my job. Oh my God. Okay,
Nice.
go ahead.
No problem. So we had the chance to build up, and while the rest of Europe and North America and a lot of South America were having a gigantic spike, we didn't have one. Um,
Hmm.
but now that the spring is here and people want to go out more, that we're starting to get a rise.
Yeah, it's
At
happening
least
everywhere. Yeah.
yeah, at least the healthcare system here can handle it. So that's nice so far. I mean, eventually, I'm sure we'll hit a critical point, but Beyond that, they've also made deals with all four of the companies that are manufacturing the vaccine. So three of the
America,
companies.
United States. That's
One is
ones
from.
that Trump talked about in some of his press conferences. I don't know. I remember their names.
Well, there's a company called AstraZeneca, and there's another one that is based out of the University of Oxford in England. And now I'm fading on the third one. I can't remember the third, but the fourth one is the Russian.
I forgot their names. Yeah, the Russian.
Yeah, so there's four. The Russian one is the one that's not being tested.
Pfizer.
Here. Pfizer is not Russian, but you're right. That's the third one. So Pfizer, AstraZeneca, and University of Oxford. So all three of those are doing trials here, and they've made deals with all three of them to manufacture the vaccines for South America here in the country, so that all of us can get some. And then
I understand.
They just made a deal with the Russian company to buy 25 million doses of their vaccine, but that's contingent upon it passing the final test. Do you know contingent?
Contingent? No. I know contagious.
No. So this is different. Contingent means that there is at least one question that must be answered before something happens. So Argentina says that they will purchase the vaccines, 25 million of them, if vaccines pass their final test, and therefore buying the vaccines is contingent upon the test, or the vaccine passing the test.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard that the French government is also working on some kind of vaccine, and I don't know, their president said that we're gonna test the vaccine in Africa, and people here, just what do you mean by trying the vaccine in Africa? That's weird. That's a weird saying,
I can't begin to express to you how ashamed I am and embarrassed I am that Trump is my representative to the world. It embarrasses me, and it is a shame to me. I am watching very closely with the election and hoping it could be any hour now, but I know that there will be lawsuits and it will probably take weeks, but it's possible that we won't have to see Trump around anymore, and that would be magical.
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons that I've been living here in Argentina. I just don't want to be a part of that anymore.
Wow,
I'm far too progressive, far too leftist, far too very much in favor of socialism to live and put up with that environment. So
just wait and see what's gonna happen. I see that the numbers are really close, and people are expecting a lot of. I don't know. I was looking at the news. I was hearing a lot of words that I don't understand the meaning of them. Related to those elections. And it's going crazy. Numbers are really close. Trump is saying that there are a lot of fraud going on.
That's what he's going to say. They're trying to commit fraud too. So it's just, I can't say that I'm in favor of Biden. I just dislike him less than I dislike Trump.
Yeah, because the two are not competent, as I heard from, people who knows about politics and.
Well, I would say they're both figureheads. They are a representative for their party, but they really aren't actually going to be in power. The people behind them are actually in power. They're just a figurehead. They're the face of the organization.
Well, let's wish for the best. Now I have to say goodbye. It's 8 seconds.
It was nice to meet you, Jafar. I hope to see you around sometime.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good time.